Hi, I'm Jack Lowden and I'm an actor. I'm from Scotland and I currently am in London working, but I work all over the UK. So I grew up in the Scottish borders, just south of Edinburgh, and I went to a little primary school and then a high school that we didn't have drama as a subject. It wasn't there yet. I think it is now. But we did have a very enthusiastic music teacher called Jeff Thompson, who put on these big, massive summer shows, big musicals every summer, with as much money as he could find and help that he could get. So I chucked myself into that. It was known as choir, and I threw myself into that when I was in first year at high school. And I did everything from sort of South Pacific to Les Mis to Buddy Holly, all these massive big musicals. And we'd rehearse 2 or 3 times a week for about 4 months, and then do only a week of performances in the summer before we broke up. And I just grew to just love it. It was just, I loved playing sport and everything like that, but the buzz of being on stage, it was just incredible. And also my younger brother became a ballet dancer. He's now a professional ballet dancer over in Sweden. And from a very early age, I think we went to see Riverdance in Manchester. And for some reason, that meant that we both wanted to dance, and he was very, very good at it, and I was rubbish. Just got the buzz of being on stage very quickly hit me. So I sort of was pushed into acting as a sort of mistake. I was sort of encouraged to narrate ballet shows. Actually, it was one of the other ways I started. But where I came from and where I grew up and the people that I knew and my parents are 100% why I do this. I went to Scottish Youth Theatre. I went to summer courses and things like that in Edinburgh, and a little ballet school, the Manor School of Ballet in Edinburgh. So I don't know why. I don't really know if there is a really great romantic story as to why I'm an actor, but it's totally a product of the people that I grew up around, 100%. Yeah. And so I started on stage very young, like I said, and did predominantly stage all the way up until my sort of early 20s. So I got into screen quite late in comparison, and to be honest, I didn't like it at first. The fact that there was no audience, I think, was the main thing that I sort of didn't like at all. But then have seemed to just work constantly now on screen. I've done a few plays recently, but I predominantly work on screen now, and it's actually where a lot of your work is at the moment. When starting out, there's just far more projects because there's more projects than there are theatres, for example, on screen. So getting to do a play is a real privilege and quite rare. But in terms of the difference, I wouldn't be able to say that I've made the transition completely into how to act on screen, if I'm being honest. But my piece of advice about it would be to not treat it as two different professions. I was quite inclined to do that when I first started it, but it's not different. I mean, acting's acting, and at the heart of it has got to be playing and having fun, and it's just doing it in a different space. But like I say, the lack of having an audience really made it less fun for me at first. But you learn to adapt in the way that, when you're stood on stage, that if you're looking that way or if you're speaking in that way, you're going to hit a certain amount of people. You learn that that's a similar skill when you're in front of a camera, is that when the camera's there, when the camera's way over there, when they're on this lens, that lens, you learn how to adapt, and it becomes quite a fun challenge. But also the sort of myth that you must be smaller on screen when it comes to acting, and actors will know what I mean by that. But I think there's a time and a place for that on screen, but I also think it can end up being quite boring if you're just trying to be small all the time. And I think, like I say, I just think you shouldn't treat it as two different professions. During lockdown, yeah, obviously we've not been able to do a lot. I've been lucky enough I shot a film for 8 weeks, and I'm now doing something else. But those months and months and months like everybody else where I wasn't doing anything. But I found ways to, I made just stupid videos on my phone. I just sort of embraced the boredom, and imagination is a big thing to me, and it's an incredibly useful tool as an actor, particularly when you work on screen. The imagination, it comes to the forefront quite often. And so it was quite fun to imagine being in different worlds, even though you were sat in your flat or your house. And I just mucked around making stupid videos. I made a video where I was pretending to be at the top of a mountain, climbing up a ledge on the back of a chest of drawers in my bedroom, and then falling off it. And I played around with the camera with how, if you use your phone, and how pulling it up as you move down, it makes it look like you're falling, and just things like that. I actually felt a lot more creative during lockdown than I do normally. But it's still no substitute. Absolutely, it's no substitute for being around people or being on stage, for sure. But I would just say make stupid videos, and our generation and the younger generations, you guys, you're going to be the best at it that there's ever been. So I would totally embrace your imagination in amongst four walls. I would say I saw Simon Russell Beale, who is a phenomenal stage actor, one of the very best that we've ever had. I've never seen Simon on stage, but I have seen him in a Terence Davies film called Deep Blue Sea, which is an adaptation of a play, of the Rattigan play. And his performance in it was absolutely stunning. And I watched it because I was about to work with Simon and with the same director. And it really has stuck with me, because I think, Simon has grown up on stage. And so that thing we were talking about earlier about making the transition to screen, I think watch Simon's performance in that will really help you with the whole big and small thing, the meeting of the two. It's just such a beautiful, heartbreaking, incredibly judged performance. And I've watched it a dozen times now. Really magnificent performance. My piece of advice would be, when I was younger, I did a lot of this, but I was an incredibly shy kid, very, very, very shy, and was always very, very scared to make, as they say in Scotland, an idiot of myself. It's not that I regret that, but I do. Part of me does wish that I had made an idiot of myself sooner, but I am making up for that now by doing that as much as possible now. So my advice would be to just throw yourself in it as much as you can, and never be afraid of thinking that the way that you're right. Never be afraid of starting to think that the way that you do it is right, because standing, waiting in the wings and comparing yourself to others doesn't really get you anywhere. And I know people say, have confidence as much as possible, but that's a very easy thing to say, and it's a hard thing to do. But I tell you what's quite useful is to start thinking that you're right. And it sounds almost arrogant, but I think if you can do that, confidence will start coming. And even if it's fake confidence, confidence on stage, on set, anywhere is one of the most, if not the most valuable thing you can possess. Forget talent. If you've got confidence, it's great. So just stuff yourself full of fake confidence, if it is, and just think that you're always right. Good luck to everybody. I know it's a hard time. It's a trying time, but it's your responsibility to have as much fun as you can doing this, because not everybody gets to do this. So have as much fun as you can, and make as many people as you can smile, because everybody needs it right now. So have fun, good luck, and always think you're the best.